Yo, what's good, everybody? It is your boy Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me, and I am back. This is part 1 of 2 of What If Deku Was a Kryptonian. And I just want to say, I did take a little bit of a break. I decided to take like 2 days or like something like that. I think it was like 2 days, just to like regather myself and like figure out exactly how I want to approach things. As most of you guys know, if you guys are OGs and you've been around for a while, you know that this isn't the only channel I run. So trying to find that perfect little schedule for myself is a little difficult sometimes. So that's why, I'll take a little break and be like, oh shit, okay, let me figure this out. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And, but as always though, I hope you guys still enjoy. I hope you guys enjoy this What If. Hope you guys enjoy, just the series, itself. And I hope you guys are still enjoying the content. And now I don't want to waste much more of your time. I don't want to waste much more of that time. Check the links in the description, membership, Discord, Spotify, all that good stuff. And yeah, that's all I got to say. I hope you guys enjoy it. I want to get right into it. So let's get it. Izuku Midoriya is not your typical Izuku Midoriya. This version of Izuku would actually come from the skies itself. Yes, the sky itself. It's an odd thing, but out one day, his mother would be really, really sad, hoping that one day she could have the child she wanted so badly because she lost one not too long ago. Now, with all that said, though, it seemed as if a wishing or a star, a kind of a comet or something along those lines would crash across the sky, and she would look up and she would wish for it, wish for her child to come back, wish that she would have a child and she would be able to love that child, be able to take care of that child, and basically raise that child as her own. And as she is thinking these things, as she is saying these things, out of nowhere, that little star would turn into a ship. It's an odd thing, but it's a smaller ship, and it comes crashing down to the ground. She gets out of harm's way, and she runs over to see the ship is carrying a small child, like a baby borderline. She uses her own quirk to actually rip the front of the ship kind of off so that she can open the ship itself. It's slightly stuck, so she's able to use her quirk to carry smaller objects to actually break through the screen of it just a little bit, grabbing the baby and deciding to raise him as her own, not even telling anybody about this and not letting anybody know, because she believes that they would test on him. They would do things and pick and point and try to do things that would basically invade the space of this little baby, and she doesn't want that. She doesn't want this little baby to be hurt. She doesn't want this little baby to be tested on. She wants this little baby to be a normal kid. And that's exactly what she wants to do. And that's exactly what she wants for this little kid that she deems and names Izuku Midoriya. And that's when she starts raising this kid as her own. But soon, very, very soon, at around the age of 5 and 6, he would actually show glimpses of powers, the ability to fly, the ability to carry heavy objects, super strength, speed, all of these things, even laser vision. And she starts realizing that he is not your normal baby. He must be something far different. He must be super powered. And she would sit there with him and explain to him that there's so much that he doesn't know, so much that he'll eventually learn, but tells him one day, he will be a Superman. He will be a powerful man in his own rights, and he can save and help so many people. And she tells him that soon that he will have control over the powers that have been granted to him. They just need to try. They just need to continue practicing and truly prepare himself for the day that he would eventually become a superhero or a hero in this world. And of course, that conversation would continue on throughout his life, but also would continue on throughout just the time of him preparing to be that superhero. He wants to be a hero like All Might. He wants to be just like All Might, but he also knows that there's so much more for him to learn. And he starts learning about this, about his old life. They would actually visit the kind of the ship that landed not to or like years ago. She actually had it hidden so that nobody would eventually find it. And what's in that ship is a lot of information that Izuku eventually figures out actually how to read and learning of where he's come from, what happened to his people, and what happened to his planet. Learning that a planet called Krypton was destroyed and completely obliterated, and he doesn't really know why or how. It seems like the writing and the scribble is very quick and hastily, and it seems like he was the only survivor. But as he's looking through all of this, he sees a symbol on Earth that he would know as the letter S, but a symbol that he now knows and remembers to mean hope. Hope that there's going to be a future for this child, and hope that there will be a future for Izuku Midoriya. And that's exactly what they want for their child. The child that, well, they had to let go, and a child they got off the planet before it exploded. And with all that said, he really takes this idea of carrying the letter S with him so much more than you would think. And he begins carrying that letter, that little symbol, that meaning of hope with him everywhere he goes. And eventually he would go through the entirety of middle school, and he would sit waiting for his chance to become that hero. But of course there are other people there, other students there, that believe that they are better and they can do it just as good, if not better, than Izuku. And one of those people, well, is obviously Katsuki Bakugo, believing that he should be the only one from this crappy middle school to go and be the kind of savior of UA High School. But Izuku, he's not letting down, and let's just say Bakugo can't bully Izuku the way he wants to, because Izuku really is that powerful, tanking explosions from him so easily. And every time they have a little conflict, Izuku only gets more powerful, only gets better, and only understands his power even more. And this would even frustrate Bakugo even more than just Izuku being powerful. He believes that he's being mocked. He's being kind of messed with, because Izuku, well, he just watches Bakugo hit him. He just watches Bakugo, land a blow here, land a blow there. He doesn't care. He just kind of shrugs it off so easily. So the fact is that Bakugo would be going insane on this idea. Be like, you know what? This is ridiculous. Like, I don't have to take this from you and blah, blah, blah. Like, he is really upset that Izuku basically just kind of brushes every attack off. He doesn't even think about it. He's like, oh, you know what? Yeah, you're going to hit me? Go ahead, hit me. And he doesn't even give one singular F. He's just shrugging it off. He doesn't care. And Izuku he does his thing overall. And this would lead him to actually heading home that same day. And as he heads home, that same day, he would be wondering what he should do. What's going to happen in this near future? What's going to happen when he heads off and he goes straight to UA and tries to become the hero he wants to be so badly? What's going to happen? And Izuku, well, he doesn't know for sure. He doesn't know the absolute idea of what's going to happen 100%, but he does have confidence in himself, and he does know that there's always a chance to be a great hero. And this right here, the moment that he would get a chance to prove it, would be when the sludge villain would attack him. And this would not go very well for the sludge villain, when he would get absolutely obliterated by Izuku, and All Might would show up, realizing the fight is already over, and realizing that this kid, Izuku Midoriya, he's the real deal. He asks Izuku, what's his quirk, what's his powers? And Izuku remembers, okay, if anybody asks this, I have to tell them that I have the ability, my quirk has, given me the ability to fly and, be really strong, and basically also being able to use kind of like laser vision. And he tells All Might that they're not exactly sure like what his quirk is really named and stuff like that. And he kind of yaps on about these things, about various ways that, yeah, his quirk can do this and that, but he doesn't really know what it really does, right? He doesn't know for sure if there's anything else added to it. And of course, All Might's like, wow, kid, you have one of the craziest quirks I've ever heard of. And he tells Izuku he hopes that he tries out for UA because he believes he can be a great hero. And Izuku, hearing this, excites him more than anything, and he would head home that same day after helping All Might clean up, and he would tell his mom that he's ready for anything. And for the next 10 months, they train to hone his abilities just a little bit more before he has to prepare for the UA entrance exam, or before he gets to actually participate in the UA entrance exam. And Izuku, well, when that exam would begin, yes, the written portion would be a little bit difficult, but he's a smart kid. He's able to handle things. He's a smart guy, and he's a very quick study, especially with his ability to kind of like super speed in a way, read things and stuff like that. But on top of that, he's prepared himself pretty well. But the practical portion is when he shows off, just flying through every single robot you can see. And then on top of that, when a giant robot would show up and threaten to crush a girl, he would just push it over with such ease. And everybody would be like, whoa, what did I just watch? That kid just made everybody look like they didn't even deserve to be here. And he did it all with a big smile on his face. He did it all without hesitation, and he did it all without any worry at all. And that right there, I mean, that is shocking. Everybody's like, this is crazy. How does this even make sense? This doesn't make sense at all. But of course, Izuku just flies down, and he thanks everybody for the chance to really try his best, and the chance to kind of push further himself in the rankings. And well, let's just say a lot of these teachers and faculty that are watching, they don't even freaking get a chance to really think or even figure out what the hell is going on. They don't even really get a chance to kind of basically walk up to him and ask him like, well, how did you do this, or how'd you do that? They don't even get a chance. They're just in complete and utter shock, thinking this is crazy. How was he able to do this? They don't get it. They don't understand it. They've never seen somebody at this level. They've never seen somebody that is borderline the strength of All Might. And he was just born this way. He came into this world this way. This is crazy, because it seems like the quirks and everything, they seem to be getting more and more powerful. And soon, well, they'll have no idea really what to do with them. But what they don't know is that it's not the case that the quirks are getting so much more powerful. It's that Izuku, well, he's from somewhere else that isn't even of this world. And that right there, they won't ever really know, but they have no clue that's where their head should be going, and not that the human evolution is rapidly growing to the point where this kid has been born with the power of the strength of All Might. But with all that said, he would eventually get his letter that would admit him into UA High School, and he would be excited to see that he is not only admitted into Class 1A, but he is the number 1 student, and it's not even close. Izuku, excited and just ready to just really take things to the next level. He just wants to show everybody that he is capable, that he is ready, and that he can do so much more than anybody could possibly imagine. And that first day of UA, he's excited for his first class, and he's excited to see what's to come. And before you know it, he would meet his first teacher, being that of Shota Aizawa. And he seems very, very locked in and wants to push the idea that they don't necessarily deserve to be praised and all this stuff based around orientation. He wants to see what they're capable of out there. He wants to see what they're capable of in a quirk assessment. And since Izuku's the first place and, the number 1 student, well, he's up first to throw this ball. And he questions, should he hold back? Like, what should he do? But Aizawa looks at him, and he can tell that Izuku's questioning something, and tells him to not hold back a single bit. He doesn't care what the kid is thinking. He doesn't care of any of that. Do not hold back. And he says it very stern, and Izuku nods his head, and he says that he apologizes for even thinking that he should, and he would throw the ball straight into the stratosphere, basically just chucking that thing into space. And everyone's watching, and Aizawa would smile really widely and think that, yeah, this kid might just be the real deal. And that would be the case because every single thing that they do, he's the best at. He's faster than everybody, stronger than everybody. He has quicker steps, stronger grip strength. Everything that they try, every little assessment they try to basically utilize him with, he just destroys every single one. And Aizawa would look at Izuku and point at him, and he would tell everybody around and say that this right here, this is your benchmark. This is where you want to get to. This is what you are chasing, because you want to chase at something that feels like impossible to catch, so that you could eventually break your own boundaries, break your own limitations. And of course, Bakugo would immediately talk and speak and say that he's not gonna fall behind this chump. Like, he's gonna be better than him. And of course, as I was like, you know what? I like that. That's good. You should feel that way. Just know that if you fall on your face, if you fail, that it doesn't mean it's over. It means you should wipe yourself off and keep pushing forward, and don't be an idiot while doing it. He tells them all that, okay, we're all done here now. And they ask, like, oh, what happened? Shouldn't somebody be getting expelled? The last place does. And he said, yeah, whatever. It was all a ruse. And he sends them off to orientation. Izuku would head off with his class after that as well. They would finish off the day, and the very next day he would even get a chance to show off how good he really is against his own classmates via the heroes versus villains kind of training session. And when it's him and Ochako versus, Tenya Ida and Bakugo, I mean, this fight isn't even a fair one. This fight is far from fair. This fight is a very, very simple, very, very easy one for Izuku Midoriya, just taking Ochako, flying them both up, and finding the bomb that they have to touch, and they easily are able to touch that bomb, and they're easily able to fend off Tenya Ida and Bakugo. But Izuku would get his real chance to show off his powers when they would head off to the USJ. Initially, Izuku's just thinking, you know what, this is going to be great. I get to test out, our, what rescue facilities we have. How good are we at training and this and that, and all this stuff. And this is all the things he was thinking. But what he wouldn't know is that villains would eventually show up, and villains would come knocking, and villains would want to destroy this entire place, burn it to the ground, and eliminate All Might. But what Shigaraki, what the League of Villains, and what everybody, and even All for One, they do not know is that a kid that fell from the sky is going to make them look like absolute idiots, but may just change their viewpoint on everything that they're doing quicker than you could imagine. Because when they're at the USJ and villains arrive, Izuku does not wait. He does not think. He just does. Jumping into action, helping Aizawa just knock out, or basically just knock out cold a lot of these villains, and even would go straight for the big guy, knowing that the Nomu must be a powerful foe, facing off with the Nomu and absolutely going head to head with it, so much so that Shigaraki is terrified. He's terrified, thinking that the Nomu is supposed to be stronger than All Might. That in his head, that's what he's supposed to be. Is he really that weak, or is that kid really that strong? And this would terrify Shigaraki to the point where he doesn't know what he should do. He doesn't know what's going on, but before you know it, the Nomu would be sent flying out of the entirety of the USJ, and you would have other heroes, well, mostly All Might for now, but All Might arriving, and he arrives to see that the giant Nomu would already be sent out of the building, but Shigaraki and these other villains are still here. So he goes to help with those other villains, leading to Shigaraki and Kurogiri being absolutely destroyed in a fight, and leading to them being captured. And he would be in shock, thinking that they must have miscalculated things. They messed things up. He's really, really losing his mind now, thinking that maybe he was set up. No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. How could this go so wrong? How could this fall on its face so fast? But then he kind of realizes that, yes, he was given information about these students. He was given information about, like, kind of who they were, where they come from, but he didn't know everything. He didn't know every little bit. He didn't know that this kid, Izuku Midoriya, was the same strength, if not even stronger than All Might himself. How would he have known? Well, the person that is the insider, the traitor himself, well, he didn't even say it. And when Shigaraki and Kurogiri would be tied up and would be cuffed with court-canceling cuffs, put behind bars before you know it, including the entirety of the League of Villains, or at least the portion of the League of Villains that are here right now, they would be put behind bars for the rest of their lives. But Izuku could hear something. The heart of somebody beating so quickly that you would think that it's kind of guilt, or guilt-ridden heartbeat. Not in the way of like, oh, thank goodness we're all safe and all that stuff. No, everything is all settled down. Everything is figured out. So everybody's heartbeats are slowing. They're calming down just a little bit. But one other person, somebody that he knows in his own class, his heartbeat is at an all-time high, even though they just won the day, even though they just saved everybody here, and that is Aoyama. He's not sure what's going on, but he goes over to Aizawa before you know it, and he explains to Aizawa what he heard through his super hearing, in which Aizawa's like, so it's just another power that you have, blah blah blah, and he's like, no, seriously, Aizawa, like, you have to listen. He explains the situation and explains that everybody else's heartbeats were slowing just a little bit. Yes, they were fast because it just happened, but someone else's was still rapidly pumping and going crazy, as if he was nervous, as if he was guilty. And of course, as I was like, well, this could be for many reasons, but we'll keep an eye out on it, in which they do know that a traitor did show up, so they do decide to keep an eye out at Aoyama, because, well, there's kind of a good chance that he could be a part of some sort of scheme, or someone is. And Izuku, well, he might have picked him out before anybody could possibly even know it. And the scary part is, like, Aoyama still kind of fears, even though with so much, so many people, or mostly like Izuku having such potential, Aoyama would still fear, like, that this wouldn't work out the way he needs it to, because he's scared that All For One and whoever else will still hurt him, even though they have shown that the League of Villains' best attempt just fell straight on its face. And that's the reality of it, but he's still really scared, and most kids would be. A kid in a situation like Aoyama would be terrified. There would be no way around the fact that he would be terrified, but you can't really put much stock into that, at least not at the moment, because this would lead them to obviously dealing with the UA Sports Festival. And Izuku, well, he would stand in front of everybody explaining what's going to happen, explaining that everyone's going to do their absolute best and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, he hopes to put on a good show. And after he steps off the podium, after they line up for the obstacle course race, he would fly through all the obstacles before you know it, and he would be the winner of this race in a matter of like 10 to 15 seconds. And everybody would be watching, everybody's quiet, and then everyone starts cheering, believing that Izuku, this is insane. This kid, he must be like the next coming of All Might. He must be that next great hero. This is the hero. This is the next great hero that they are watching in the making as they speak. And everybody's losing their mind, believing that this kid, I mean, this right here, this is who we need. This is our savior. This is the kid that is going to change everything. And everybody is cheering, everybody is smiling, and Izuku is as well, smiling and watching everybody be excited, cheering, and all this stuff. And he's just happy that he's able to show what he's truly capable of, and show everybody here that he really is the next great hero. And this will continue on throughout the entirety of the UA Sports Festival, absolutely decimating the cavalry battle. I mean, so many people wanted to be on his team, even though he had like a ton of points. But he ended up choosing Ochako, Tokiyami, Mei Hatsume, and it's a pretty simple team for him, and he just easily handles everything. I mean, he just like shoots like gusts of wind at people that try to get near them. He can fly them out of harm's way, all this stuff, and they easily get on to the next round. And Izuku is just kind of soaking in this, honestly, this attention, and he's not trying to let it get to his head, but he's happy to see that everybody is kind of enjoying this, but also that everybody really believes not only in him, but in everybody else here. And a lot of them look to this entire generation of future heroes and believe that they are in good hands, and this right here makes Izuku feel really, really good, eventually leading to the 1 versus 1s, where Izuku wouldn't have any trouble dealing with so many different things. In a way, Izuku was even able to tell, and was even told this, but he was able to tell that Shinso had some sort of voice-like quirk, so he would just keep his mouth shut, push him straight off the the stage, and it would be done deal from then. I mean, literally, he would face off with Todoroki, but this wouldn't be a hard fight at all either. I mean, he absolutely outclasses Todoroki. Yes, does he try to get him to use his fire side? Of course. And does he? Well, maybe, right? Izuku gets him to utilize that fire side just a little bit, but he still loses even though he uses it. So it does put a bitter taste in his mouth about it, but at the same time, he knows that if he wants to be the best hero he can be, this is probably the best choice. The best choice to, like, you know, utilize both of his quirks to its highest degree, and he knows that this might be his father's quirk, quote unquote, but he can use it for everything he believes to be the greater good, and that's exactly what he'll do. And Izuku would then go on to face off with Tenya Ida, who he defeats very easily, and then would even defeat Bakugo very swiftly in one foul swoop, and everybody would be watching, everybody would be thinking that this kid, he's in a class of his own. Shoot, he might even have the potential to be a hero right now. They want him to be a hero ASAP because this kid, I mean, he's shown potential beyond even some heroes out there. But Izuku still has to pay his dues and still has to push on through. And that's exactly what he's going to do. But in all honesty, he gets a ton of internships. Like, we're talking countless internship invites from various different heroes like Endeavor, heroes like Mirako, and so many more. But he decides to actually work with the former sidekick of All Might himself, being that of Sir Night-Eye. And he decides to work with Sir Night-Eye because he believes that he is that, like, a great hero. He is this, and he'll teach him various things that he needs to learn. Plus, one of the members of the Big Three, by the name of Mirio Togata, hero named Lemillion, actually works with Sir Night-Eye as well. So Izuku goes out there and trains and works and also, like, helps out where he can. And Sir Night-Eye basically tells him that he does remind him of a younger All Might. He does remind him of an All Might that is, well, in his prime. And he tells him that he has all the potential in the world, but keep his head on his shoulders. Don't let the flashy lights, don't let the people screaming his name deter him and change his course from being the hero that he knows he can be. And Sir Night-Eye helps him greatly with all of those aspects, helping him stay humble and helping him learn and also lean into strategy and stuff like that. So he doesn't just rely on his raw strength. So he doesn't just rely on doing one thing after another. And Izuku really takes this all in. Izuku makes sure that he really hears Sir Night-Eye out. He really hears everything that is being said, and he really knows that Sir Night-Eye means very, very well. So he makes sure that he wants to, and make sure to, flat out kind of stay humble, stay ready, and stay all together. And Izuku promises him that he will do just that. And Sir Night-Eye is, of course, very happy to hear that. And, of course, would be very happy to hear that they have someone else to the degree of like the next All Might for the next generation of heroes. And this would be amazing to see for Sir Night-Eye. And as the training would ensue for the next kind of 3 to 4 days, eventually they would hear about something happening, or did happen, to one of the students that go to UA. And unfortunately, one of these students by the name of Tenya Ida would be found in critical condition with the hero killer there and, well, about to end him. But luckily, Endeavor and many other heroes showed up before he could finish the job. And luckily enough, the hero killer is captured, but Tenya Ida is in critical condition and borderline on death's door. And Izuku, well, he's sad to hear this. I mean, he believes that maybe if he was there, he could have helped, he could have done something. But there's only so much you can say, only so much you can do, and only so much that can truly happen. So he really takes this with a grain of salt, but he knows that there are so many things that happened so quickly, and he just hopes that his classmate, his friend, will be okay. And after all that is said and done, after they continue on with their classes and eventually they actually get into preparing for their final exams, Izuku is just ready for whatever's to come. He prepares for his written portion and believes he passed it pretty damn easily. But when he gets to the practical portion is when things start getting interesting, because he would be pitted up against All Might himself. But Izuku believes that he shouldn't fight All Might, that he shouldn't, that he wants to kind of keep the idea of All Might intact. So when he goes to face off with All Might, when he goes to go one-on-one with him, he would take a couple hits from him, go flying backwards, and kind of gather himself, kind of move All Might out of the way, and kind of push him away, and actually fly his way out of the area to basically ensue in like a escape and or kind of get some help. Like that's like the whole idea. So he would escape, and everybody would be like, oh, like he did that so quickly, blah blah blah. And All Might would chase after him after it is all said and done, and ask him, why wouldn't he show everybody here what he can do? Why wouldn't he show that he's stronger than him? Because All Might even knows that to an extent, he's heard it from other people, that this kid might be even stronger than him. And All Might felt it. During that fight, it felt as if he wasn't even trying to hurt All Might. He wasn't even trying to do anything. But Izuku tells him that keeping intact the idea and the persona of All Might, and the idea of All Might as the #1 hero and also as the kind of greatest hero alive is what's important right now. That's all that matters. That's all that we all care about. And Izuku believes that his little personal glory in front of his classmates just doesn't mean enough for him to kind of slice his way through that, and doesn't mean enough for him to kind of take that away from All Might by beating him, or even trying to beat him, or even showing that it's competitive. And All Might looks at him and says, you know what, kid, like, you're more mature than anyone I've ever met, even heroes alike. I mean, kid, like, you have such a bright future and such an amazing head on your shoulders, and you're going to be a great hero. And Izuku shakes his hand and thanks All Might, and he tells him that he hopes to be half the hero he is, or wants to be half the hero he is. And All Might tells him that he's going to be far greater than any ceiling that he has ever touched. And of course, they would shake hands, they would leave, and everybody would be allowed to head off to the forest training camp just days away. And that would ensue in, well, days of training, like days and days of training, leading them to finishing the training at the forest training camp, preparing even more, and preparing Izuku even more. And before you know it, when they would be heading back, they would be on a bus headed straight back to UA High School. And when they would arrive, when they would get home, they would see on the TVs that All Might is facing off with All For One. And it seems like this will be the final fight, the very final fight for All Might, and the very final fight for the symbol of peace, the one and only #1 hero, All Might. And with one United States of Smash, with one final gasp, one final punch, everybody watches as he would knock All For One out cold and end the era of the League of Villains. And Izuku would sit up to his TV and would even watch closer and closer as All Might would point toward the camera and say that you are next. And Izuku would look at this and take this as himself, he is next. That he needs to prepare himself to really enter the shoes of someone like All Might and prepare himself to be that next great hero. But they have so much more in front of him, so much more in front of them, and Izuku Midoriya is prepared for it all. But that is where we're going to end part 1 of 2 of What If Deku Was a Kryptonian. And if you guys enjoyed, show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. All that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.